So like I know bits and parts of the story. I know bits and parts of the Bacardi story. I know bits and parts of the Tiana story.
Right, right, right.
So as you talk about it, I'll pull in the little places like
Right,
okay,
right.
like what, like
Yeah.
as far as some things that we haven't even discussed before, as far
Right.
as specific details. So
I mean, I'm not. I'm gonna get into slight details,
okay,
but I'm gonna give great. What do they call it? Sound bites.
right,
For
okay,
this,
okay,
okay.
okay,
Like, oh shit, he said that.
okay,
Like I made Tiana. You
okay,
know what I mean?
gotcha.
She wouldn't be there without me. I mean, she would have eventually been there.
Right, but you were there.
I was the catalyst for that.
Right,
No
right,
question.
right.
Her first deal and everything. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Undeniable. We can put this out in the public because it's a fact. Everything I'm gonna say is a fact. And as a man thinketh.
As a man thinks.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Which and that's which what Rob was talking about, that element of it, right? Just the mindset, us being able to bring all of that into this. I think that's gonna separate us
Right,
from from
right.
everybody else that's in the space. And it was interesting because I was telling you like the reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this because I've been talking about it for so long, and now I'm just like all the talking points I've been saying for the past couple of years, like everybody else is saying that. Everybody now, so I'm like, okay, how do I shape the message? How do we take it the next step further? And it was like this was the perfect opportunity to do it, through this podcast, through this conversation.
Okay. And I'm happy you're doing it because I feel comfortable because we have these conversations all the time.
Right.
So now having this conversation is more so for me to let it be known, like I'm coming from behind the curtain. Because a lot of people always say, "Yeah, what does he do?" Because he's somebody, he does something. I was comfortable behind the curtain, things like that. I was definitely comfortable with that. And so the questions you will ask me today, I will get to pull back the curtains
Right.
a whole lot, all the way, all the way, right? Without taking too much of your day. I know you're busy. Appreciate you coming by.
So let's kick it off.
Okay.
Alright, wait. Nope.
Okay.
Alright. Everybody get happy. Here we go.
All right, guys. Look, this is season 1, episode 1 of the Keyz to Success podcast. Practical tips on how to be successful in the music business. And for the first episode, I thought, what better person to get this launched off with my friend, my partner, my mentor, Carl Joseph, who's done so much in this business, behind the scenes, like we were just talking about, off the camera, and just being influential in this digital space and really helping artists get from point A to point B. So welcome, Carl Joseph. Thank you again, my brother. And I'll let you go ahead and do your intro and let the people know who you are and what you've done. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm coming from behind the curtain right now, and nobody better to do that with than you. You know, we speak all the time, and me, digital marketing. I mean, digital marketer. That's what I came in this business as. Excuse me, was both artist development, producer, digital marketing, wearing all the hats, right? From 2005. Then actually started in the digital market in 2008. I mean, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, just how you want to, and where I feel like we want to pull, but yeah, so digital marketer is how you got into this music industry space, so to speak.
I got into it in 2008, but actually into the music business in 2005 with my son, Cashflow Harlem. Working with him. First it was, let's get the music, let me help develop him musically. And then it was like, what do we do with the music? Obviously there was no...
So, because we know.
Right.
But I want, for the listeners and the audience, your son, Cashflow Harlem, that's your biological son. And I think what's so interesting about your story, Carl, a lot of your highest level of success came from you helping your son achieve his dream and being there. And that was, to me, what was always stood out in your story was like, man, as I'm helping my son get to where he wanted to be in life, supporting his dream as any parent would do, right? That's what we all do as parents. And in that, you found a certain level of success, in this business, digital marketing, on to the herb business and everything you've been doing since then. So, again, because you said your son, Cashflow Harlem, who's a huge social media phenomenon right now, is killing the social media game in his brand in his own right. So, back to your story. You got into the space 2005, helping your son
Yes.
get further along in the business.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's where it started. And to elaborate on what you said, I helped my son pursue his dream,
Right.
and in that I found my passion, and it intertwined with what I was good at as well. And I see my son has taken the lessons of myself and those who I surrounded him with,
Right.
and taken it to another level. And it's still more to go. And depending on how you define success, I've found much more financial success immediately with working with people like Cardi, different brands, things like that, and other artists. But with my son, it's an ongoing thing. You know, he's been through many trends and things like that. He's been steadfast, still growing, right? A lot of
Right.
artists that I've worked with made money. They're no longer here, right?
Right.
They're gone. They're gone. And by the time, I was doing e-commerce and merch in 2008.
Okay.
Literally, when my son had these deep waves and all the kids online in MySpace wanted to know, they wanted it. And I figured out, like, damn, how do I get these people this can of wave grease that I made? Flow waves or whatever, I can't remember the name of it.
So you got in the e-commerce space back in 2008.
Yes.
Again, helping push merchandise for your son, right? Is that what you're saying, or was it just you're just getting in the e-commerce space because it was exploding at the time?
I was already at that time a hustler.
Okay.
So being a hustler is like basically how do I get product into the people's hands? I was a legal hustler, by the
Right.
way.
Gotcha.
How do I get this product into people's hands? And this was an era where his particular demographics, African Americans and Hispanics, they were not spending money online. Nobody was putting their credit card. It was during that period, like, I'm not putting my money on my credit card up there. Their parents are like, they're not giving them their credit card number. So how do I figure out how to do that? Money orders.
Okay.
And
Wow.
money orders were coming in the mailbox like crazy. The mailman couldn't even fit it in the mailbox. So at that point, I'm like, this internet thing this is where the money is at. So
Right.
like I had to figure out like cash flow is an artist. He was doing it for the art. As a parent and businessman, I'm like, okay, we got to do both. I got to make some money because
Right.
myself and other people were investing money in it.
Right.
That's how the e-commerce merch started. So I
So-
believe he was one of the first artists
Okay.
to sell merch.
Wow.
Okay, and among other things, we'll get into that. Cashflow, myself and Cashflow, been trendsetters, no
Right.
question. And everybody who knows us, they know that.
Right. And still to this day, Cashflow is definitely a trendsetter in this day and age, and everything that's going on in the climate of business. I think that's important. His brand, and it even attests to who you are as a person and as a man. So just so we get the story right, you get into this e-commerce space. You're
Right.
still working with Cashflow closely to build him up. At what point, what happened next? How did you come into? Well, Tiana Taylor was before Cardi.
Right.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so Cashflow was already big in the neighborhood in Harlem. He's from Harlem.
From Harlem.
So everybody in Harlem and trickled in some of the boroughs knew who he was.
Okay.
So Tiana's from Harlem, so she knew who he was. I had went to some event and I saw her singing, and I was giving out Cashflow CDs. I gave her one. She was like,
How old was she at the time?
Tiana was maybe 13 years old.
13
She
years
was
old.
about 13. She was a teenager. She was
In
13.
Harlem, New York.
This was in Harlem. I met in Harlem. She was singing the national anthem.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh man, this girl is dope. Her whole look, right? And at the time, I didn't know. One of my gifts was talent, knowing talent, right? Not even just someone being talented in whatever they are, but there's other little intangibles that go with that. So immediately I saw, wow, she can sing, but she had a look about her.
Right.
So I went up to her, gave her Cashflow CD. She was like, this is how she talked. Man, oh, this is my nigga. You know what I'm saying? This Cashflow, man. He ain't nobody. Because in Harlem, it's like, you don't be sweating nobody and
Right.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Everybody knows people.
Yeah, man, this is my nigga, man. I got the CD already. Matter of fact, Got Your CD, that was a song he did that everybody, we gave out a million CDs.
Okay.
That's how I met Tiana. And that same day, I was like, look, I want to meet your mother. I need to meet your mother. I didn't think she was that serious. Like about an hour or two later, she called me. She was like, "Look, I'm right here on 135th Street on 8th outside. My mother's with me." I was like, "Damn, I was somewhere else." I zoomed back up there and met her mother.
So let me ask you, what do you think at that point that she saw in you to even feel like, okay, let me just take this to the next step. I'm gonna make the call, and you know,
Mm.
what was that connection like? What do you think made her feel like, okay, I'm gonna call my mom and we'll see where this goes?
Right. I mean, because the aspirations of young artists and at that time and most artists was to get a deal. Normally, you go up to a rapper and start spitting and all that, you get a deal if you hot. So they saw cash flow even back then, like he was huge online, right? When people were still trying to figure out how the hell you do this, how do you? Most people didn't have a computer,
Right.
and they didn't have the phones. Everybody you couldn't access
Have
things like that.
smartphones yet, right.
So he was big in
Right.
their eyes. So who did that? Like he had his first CD was interactive. When you put it in your computer, videos pop up. Like we were always ahead.
So you were ahead of
Yeah, like I was looking at technology. Like yo, I gotta get an interactive CD.
So pretty much cash flow being, this artist, you helping him with the business, everything that needed to be done, set himself apart from every other artist,
No question.
is what Tiana already kind of saw. It's like, okay, well, this is where I want to be. I got this talent, and if I can get somebody like this on my team to help me get to this level, maybe I can be here too, or somewhere else. And that's what I'm getting from what you're telling me now. Kind of, that was, since you guys were doing it, you guys had already set the standard for where an artist should be going back then before we got into this huge, digital space and internet space where everything is, the streaming era, I'll say.
Right. I'm gonna answer that question.
Okay.
But I thank you for coming to my home to talk to me.
And by the way, we're at the Mobilementainment headquarters, the new one here in Texas. So
Yes.
thank you for having me.
Yes. And so my kids, if you hear anything, they're upstairs. They're up the upper, but they're just playing around. So that's what's going on right here. Thanks you for bringing all of this beautiful equipment here. So anyway, to answer your question, or just to elaborate conversation, because that's what it is. We're having conversations with me, giving information, and I don't want to go on and make your podcast, the first episode, like damn, 3 hours long. So again, she saw that, and her mother came, and her mother saw that, and let's not take away from Cash Flow's talent. I was doing what I was doing, but he was talented. Everybody knew that. He had the look. He was a good-looking kid, and he was talented. And it was just like, how do I? And again, I'm new to this internet stuff.
Right.
I literally got a computer. I think I don't remember when, but closely around that time, I spent the whole summer indoors figuring this computer out, the internet, and everything. My friends like, yo, let's go out. To this day, they see where I'm at with it. They was like, yo, boy, I remember that summer. You stayed in the whole summer and figuring that out.
Right.
And so it was just applying it to that. So then when Tiana came, again, Castro was big, so they want to know. Again, sometimes a deal may not be realistic for them, but to be hood hot, Castro was like hood hot.
Right, it was hood, right.
She wanted to be hood hot too.
Local star, yeah.
At that point, mind you, she had already done things already, but nothing to the level of Castro.
Right.
So hey, you guys got to be quiet up there, okay? So she had already done things, but not to that level. So when her mother came, met me, and it was just like she literally started living with me from that day. From that day.
Wow.
Literally.
That day started living with you.
Yes.
And so what was your plan? What did you see for her? I'm gonna do the same thing we did for cash flow.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Immediately, like, we gotta get some pictures to put it on the internet, build her a site,
Build the
all
digital
that.
profile.
Right. It's at cashflowworld.com.
Okay.
And that was big to have your whole own
Your own
site.
site
because
back then.
Yeah.
We talking about over 10 years ago.
Yeah, we talking
15 years ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, 15 or more. But a little more, but around that. So that's what happened with Tiana. And I did some records with her. Again, I'm still focusing on Cash. She's the focal point, and she didn't mind rolling around with Cash, helping here and there.
Right.
So I would do songs with her here and there, because again, Cash had to teach her what bars were, counting bars, and she was more of a performer than anything at that point, right? Wasn't really making records and things. So we got her into making records. Cash she started also co-writing.
Okay.
And then there was a particular record that she made with Young B, Chicken Noodle Soup. And when she got her deal, they needed to fill up the album because they were going to give them a single deal for Chicken Noodle Soup. They said, listen, we're going to give you $100,000 for this record, or if you got an album, we'll give you $1 million, 1.5. They didn't have an album. Guess who they came to see? I was the guy. Yeah, yo, we need an album, no problem. Cashflow by that time had already had a catalog of about 50 records. Boom, came to played on the records. We filled up their album. I forgot the name of it, but of DJ Webstar. By the way, it should have been Young B because she was the actual star, but you know they were saying Webstar was going to be this new P Diddy. So to make a long story short, there was also a song that I produced myself and my partner. Well, I actually produced the record with Tiana and Young B. I had gave Tiana the beat, and she had went and did the song with Young B. They wanted that song on the album, so label execs heard the record from Young B when we said this was going to be the album. They wanted to know who's this other girl. And, oh, that's Tiana. Right. What she look like? Boom. And next thing you know, they liked how she looked. Unbeknownst to me, they flew her and her mother out to Jimmy Iovine, had a meeting. I didn't know nothing about this.
So how did you not know what happened? Where you did all this groundwork,
right?
Pretty much, you got the demo done. You pictures everything, building her profile up.
Right.
Then you get her in a situation which she's featured on a record with an artist that's getting signed. It's already getting notoriety.
Right.
Then somehow you get out of the mix, and next thing you know, there's a meeting going on.
Right.
That's
okay. So her mom always said they knew some guy that had connections at Universal. I forgot his name, Rollo, I think. Yeah, he knows these. Now I've been hearing about that for the past year and a half. That Rollo can help, but
ain't nothing coming.
Right. There's nothing you can do. I had the record.
Right.
That caught their attention. Okay, and then got them to see it. I got her on that album.
Right.
Right, because of the record.
Right.
And her uncle. Her uncle was part of DJ Webstar's camp.
Okay.
So he came to me. I never met him before. He said, "Yo, bro, you got this," because he had to get approval for the record to sign off. He was like, "Yo, my niece is on this record. Boom, boom, boom. It's dope. We want to use it." I said, "Cool. I got a whole lot of other records. If you, yeah, we need records, bro." So that's how that whole come together and listen to the records. Right. And that ended up 5 or 6 of them ended up being on the album.
Wow.
So again, that's what brought the attention of the label execs was the record with Young B. Young B was
already popping.
Was popping. She had a big record, so obviously in the industry, like shit, she got a record with her. We want to sign her.
Right.
You know what I mean? So again, that's when the meeting happened. I didn't know about it until the mother got back, and then when the mother got back from LA, I guess they were like, "We're gonna sign her." So she called myself and my partner for a meeting. I'm happy. Yes, we
did it right.
Yes, I'm happy. So we sat down in a meeting at this Chinese place on 116th Street up by the college. She sat down and told us, "Hey, listen, everything's good. I'm coming in as the manager." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, "Cool, you a mother." Okay, but now I'm starting a company with my brother-in-law, who was a train conductor or some sort of bus driver. So now basically she called us up there to tell us, "See you later. I don't need you."
Wow.
We're doing this now.
Wow.
So that's what happened with that.
What did you learn from that?
What I learned from that? I mean, the reason why she wasn't actually signed to me was because I understood that because I was working with a minor. There's minor laws in effect.
Right.
So I was just going off of faith in the things that I did for her and her mother.
Right.
You know, out of loyalty.
Right.
That didn't happen. But even after that happened, I still was happy for her.
Right.
Like, because I sincerely had a fatherly love for her.
Right. Because you, the thing what's so interesting to me about you, Carl, you didn't aspire to be in the music business.
Exactly.
You know,
it was more of a fatherly thing.
It was more of a fatherly thing, and
right.
through, like I said, through you really doing what you're doing as a father, as a dad to help your son, just success started to fall in line for you.
Right.
And so so basically you learned in that situation, you know, and you were able to move forward from that. I'm sure.
It was an unfortunate and a fortunate time. The fortunate part about this was we were in this era where we're switching from CDs to digital. I was ahead on the digital, so So I became of value at that point, right? And a lot of these guys didn't know what they were doing, with the digital part. So I was ahead on that.
Okay.
So that's what increased my value as I went along with this. And again, at the time with Tiana, it was a fatherly thing, but it was still, I understood some of the music concepts because they were people that I learned from as well.
Right.
In the music business. And I just took some of that old school stuff and okay, but this is where it's going. I'm always looking at the trends, what's happening. And that's how I was able to actually push the needle forward with cash flow. And then henceforward, by the time I met Cardi, I was already 10 years in the business. And I was already known for doing what I did throughout the business. And it was like I said, it was both fortunate and unfortunate time because cash flow and I had meetings at literally every single label.
Wow.
So when I went to them and said, listen, we got 10 million views and downloads, I had my own server they can get his music. There was no iTunes and none of that stuff.
Right.
So they were like, this can't be real. I'm like, yo, he got 10 million views on his site this month.
Right.
They were like,
They didn't understand.
Yeah, I went to Capitol. I remember they were like sending it to they didn't even have a research team. It was just A&Rs. They didn't understand this stuff. So it was very discouraging and but still pushing ahead, and I think that's what gave my son the resolve to push through the disappointments, the many, many disappointments. But again, disappointment is just a seed of growth.
Right. There's a saying that you can't have success without failure. It's like, and they say you should rush to failure. To run to it because obviously that's key to success. And we'll get more into that. And while you're here, because I don't even want to interrupt the flow of the story. So all this happened. Tiana goes and signs her deal with Pharrell. You learned a lesson, huge blow to you, but you're still pushing forward.
Right.
And there's a lesson is being persistent, helping your son achieve his goals, and throughout this process, you come to the Cardi B situation. So because I was gonna go about talk how we met, but we're here. How did that happen? The whole Cardi B.
Right, but I mean, actually, me meeting you and us hooking up with this is actually in the flow.
It's in the flow. It's afterwards. Right.
So Cardi B, 2015. By the time I met her, again, I was already 10 years in digital marketing, and Shav, he knew that, and Shav was assembling a team because he had his idea for Cardi.
So who's Shav? Some people may not know.
Shav was the one who put the team together to get Cardi not just to the door, but actually blow her up. Right? When I met Cardi with Shav, she didn't even have any music at the time. When he told me this is what he had planned, this is a brilliant man. He had everything planned. So the team was me, him, Cardi, and Cashflow. That was the team.
Wow. So wait, that's how it started. He came to you, no music on Cardi.
No music.
Just a vision and idea, believing in who she was as a person. What made him say, okay, Cardi? Because I remember I heard you say you didn't know, but you was like you believed in the plan.
I didn't believe in Cardi.
Right.
At the time.
Okay.
But I believed in him.
Okay.
Right?
Why?
Because when I first met him, the reason how I met him was Cashflow wanted her in his video. He was like, yo, this is girl that's funny online. She got almost 1 million followers on IG.
Okay. I
want to put in this video. I got an idea for Ladies vs. Dots, the record he had coming out at the time. I want a girl that's going to play a thot and a lady. She's going to play both parts. I want to get her.
Okay.
All right.
So at the time, Cardi already had a fan base.
She had 1 million followers already.
She had 1 million followers.
Million plus. And lost that Instagram page and was on her second page with 1 million. And I knew what she was. I had just saw a video of hers a couple of days ago. So I was like, oh yeah, now she's perfect.
Right.
I don't know if she had a missing tooth. Now she didn't have something was funny. She just was funny.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, she'd be perfect for that. So we found her, and she came to Harlem to shoot the video, and everything went wrong that day. My guy who was shooting the video, the director, he didn't show up. So I called my man Benji Films, who was up and coming, who I thought was dope. Yo, Benji, I need you to shoot this video. Benji came, he was on deck, he got there.
Right.
Cashflow would do these elaborate videos, he always expect me to do stuff. Cashflow's the type of artist, I was doing so much, he's the type to be like, yo, I need a camel with 3 humps right now.
Right.
Because he's so used to me and my team pulling it off, that's what he expected. So at that moment, I'm like, all right, what's the idea for the video? All right, well, we're gonna need an apartment. Like, well, what apartment? So I had to call my mother and father and convince them that we needed to use their apartment in Harlem. So now we bring Cardi through the hood in Harlem, and everybody knows her.
Wow. Okay.
They're like, yo, that's Cardi, and I was like, damn, she's
already
okay.
known.
Yeah,
Right.
like, oh wow, okay.
And this is before Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, it's way before Love It. Like I said, she didn't have a song yet,
Wow.
right? So
So how did she build the following? How did she get to that point already?
I mean, I think you know everybody. Well, not everybody. You're right. She was just going online, being herself.
Being authentic.
Right. Yo, stop the noise! All right, let's pause. Let's take a break. Because right now we're talking about how Cardi, right?
Oh, well, we can keep it running.
Nah, because
Perhaps.
it'll make it better for you.
Yeah,